Hey guys, what is up? We are back with yet another episode of In the Den with AG. I'm AG, your host, and a lot of news around the NFL has been going on the past week, especially just yesterday. On Sunday, there's been a lot of news. Let's break it all down. So, getting us started in the morning, we had Myles Garrett, Brown superstar, who a few weeks ago requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns, stating that he wanted to play for a contender and didn't want to be stuck in Cleveland per se. But now, Myles Garrett and the Browns agreed to a $204 million deal with $123 million guaranteed. So that deal will run through 2030 and will make him the highest paid non-QB in league history. His deal also includes a no trade clause. And again, it runs through 2030. So the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year is getting paid $40 million per year. Again, the highest payout for a non-QB in NFL history. When I first looked at this this extension, I was thinking he really only cared about the money. He didn't care about who gave him the money, especially because the Browns were the ones that paid him. And yeah, he stated that, I'm pretty sure he wanted to play for a contender, definitely, but I feel like he valued his money, his bank account, more than a Super Bowl ring. So I think that's kind of sad. Obviously, he still wants to compete, but I feel like if what he cared about was a big contract, a big extension, could another team like the Giants or the Jets or the Raiders or somebody like that, some non-contender team could have gone out and got him. And obviously teams like the Chiefs and the Eagles could have easily retained him, could have gotten him onto their squad. I mean, obviously they're contenders, but I'm talking about the non-contenders here, like the Giants, Jets, and Raiders, and etc. If they had the money and they wanted to break their bank for Myles Garrett, do you think Myles Garrett would agree with a deal? That would have turned a lot of heads, especially. But Myles Garrett is, I guess, a winner. Browns obviously get to keep him. They don't have to trade him. They were not going to trade him, so I guess they'd rather break the bank for him. But moving on, we have another big extension, even bigger than Myles Garrett one. Josh Allen, he signs a major extension with the Buffalo Bills, $320 million with $250 million guaranteed. That is the largest guarantee in NFL history, and he is now the highest paid quarterback in NFL history as well. And he still had 4 years left on his old deal, but now he has a new 6-year extension, which will run through, again, the 2030 season to 2031. And obviously, he deserved this. That's what I was thinking at first. He deserves it. He led the Bills to the AFC Championship once again. He won the MVP over Lamar Jackson, and he had over 3,700 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, which is the least interceptions in his career. So, obviously, that's deserved. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. This came out of nowhere. There was no rumors about this or anything. But the funny thing is, now the Bills have spent over $300 million on players that aren't even free agents, which obviously, includes Josh Allen. And Shakir was just paid over $50 million for over 4 years earlier this offseason. I mean, they let go of Von Miller to clear cap space. He was on like a $20 million deal, so obviously that helps them a bit. But they're going to need more moves like that if they're going to want to raise funds, I guess. So moving on, though, a big trade. 2 big trades, actually, in the past week for the Seahawks. They traded away Geno Smith, their quarterback, to the Las Vegas Raiders for a third-round pick, and DK Metcalf, just a few days later, to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a second-round pick. And they also swapped 6th and 7th rounders, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Seahawks. Let's break down both of those deals. So, on Friday night, the Geno Smith deal was brought to life. And first thing I thought about this was, wow. Raiders got their QB, obviously, so that's a good sign. Max Crosby is obviously happy from his post what he posted on there. He's obviously excited that he's finally got a QB now. And for a third rounder, that's a pretty good deal. Now, the Seahawks are in the market for a veteran QB. So I'm going to see them being linked to Sam Darnold heavily over the next few weeks into free agency. I can see him being linked to Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, even Justin Fields. Throw him out in there. I think it's a win for Geno Smith, because especially if he is rumored to get paid around $30 to $40 million per year, what he's asking for, and if the Raiders are up for it, that's a big win for both of them. And he also gets to throw to Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers and whoever else the Raiders get, especially. So I think that's a good trade for them. And the DK Metcalf trade, Pittsburgh, you guys tried last offseason to get Brandon Ayuk, tried to take him from the 49ers. That obviously failed. You guys signed Mike Williams at the trade deadline. That obviously didn't pan out. So Pittsburgh finally has the big-time receiver that they've been desperately hoping for to complement George Pickens. And and also he signs an extension, $150 million extension for DK Metcalf over 5 years. That's insane. He is a big time winner here. But obviously, who's gonna throw him the ball? That's the question. If we don't know in the next coming weeks who's gonna throw the ball to George Pickens and Metcalf, I don't see the Steelers as contenders still. I still see them as a first-round exit. Again, it depends on who they sign. They could still sign Aaron Rodgers. They can re-sign Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. I see them re-signing Russell Wilson to pair up with his boy DK. But even so, if they don't make more moves like this, they're still going to be a first-round exit. I don't see them being contenders in the next upcoming season. I don't see them being contenders for a while unless they make more moves like this. But we'll see what happens. Moving on, though, in the free agent markets, Davante Adams agrees to a deal with LA. He's going to be there for a 2-year deal. Rams get their Cooper Kupp replacement, first off. Cooper Kupp last month stated that the Rams were looking to trade him. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. At first I was thinking, why would you trade him now? I'd keep him around for one more season. So Matthew Stafford is happy there. He gets to throw to his boy Cooper Kupp. And again, to mentor Puka Nacua more. 2023 pick in the draft. But now Davante Adams can do that, and he's still an elite receiver as well. He just hit 1,000 yards this past season for the 5th straight season. Obviously, splitting his time with Las Vegas and New York after he was traded midseason in October. It's a win for Adams. He gets to play on the West Coast with what he wished for. The Rams get their Cooper Kupp replacements for whether they trade him this offseason or they cut him or whatever they do. Obviously, I think I expected Cooper Kupp to be traded by now, and definitely with the Davante Adams news, he should be traded any day now. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't get to play with Davante, so obviously he's not going to be playing in LA. Rodgers, because Matthew Stafford decided to stay there. So I see Aaron Rodgers with all the links that's been happening. It's it's really a two-horse race between the Vikings. He could continue his Brett Favre story, his career, or he can go stay in MetLife Stadium and go to the New York Giants. I mean, I personally see him going to the Giants on like a 1-year deal, 1 year, 20, 30 million. It depends on what he wants, what he's going to ask for. And then, just get like a wide receiver or two for the Giants. Get somebody to complement him. Get somebody good in the draft. Whether that's Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. Because if they sign Aaron Rodgers now, they're not going to draft a quarterback with the number 3 overall pick. If they don't get either Aaron Rodgers or a veteran QB by April's draft, they are going to draft either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, whoever ends up at number 3, or they will make a desperate move and trade up for the number 1 overall pick. That is not what they should do. I don't really see them trading the number 3 overall pick and all other picks later in the draft for the number 1 overall pick, because Brian Dable's job is hanging by a thread, and if you're going to think you're going to have your job saved by a rookie quarterback, you're wrong. I mean, just look at Caleb Williams. He was the most hyped number 1 overall pick in years. I mean, was he gonna save the Bears instantly? No, I didn't think so. Even from when he was drafted, I didn't think he was gonna be that great of a quarterback. I mean, I didn't think any of those quarterbacks were in the last draft. Obviously, I was wrong about Jane Daniels. And, Bo Nix, I guess, he was pretty decent, pretty solid. But that didn't save the Bears. That didn't save the Bears at all. I mean, obviously, they fired their head coach after the Thanksgiving fiasco. So I don't really see all the hype around this quarterback class this year with Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. If I were the Giants, if I were the GM, I'd stay put at number 3 and take whoever's the best player available. I would take Abdul Carter for a reason, because I would take him because he's basically a better clone of Micah Parsons. And after the Giants decided not to trade him a few years back, this could be redemption for them. And they could finally get their edge rusher that they deserve. Or they can get Travis Hunter, the best athlete in this draft. I just wouldn't see this team trying to build around a cornerback. And yeah, I get it. He could play wide receiver too. I expect him to stay at cornerback for most of his NFL career. But every now and then, if a team wants him to be a wide receiver, if there's an injury or they want to try him out, yeah, he can obviously go a wide receiver. But I expect him to stay on the defensive side of the ball, even though he said at the NFL Combine, Travis Hunter, that he wanted to play on both sides of the ball like he did in college. I don't think that's realistic enough. I don't know. I would just get Aaron Rodgers. I'd say the Giants would get Aaron Rodgers and then wait until next year's draft so they can get Arch Manning, who is arguably going to be the best quarterback in this draft. But I mean, going back to another QB problem, no, not problem, but issue in the NFL right now is the Minnesota Vikings. They have Sam Darnold, who obviously redefined his career after having over 4,000 yards, passing yards, over 20 touchdowns, and leading Minnesota to a 14-win season. And yeah, obviously, you could say the last 2 games of the season, Sam Darnold did awful. But the first 16 games of that season, though, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting the first 16 games of the season. He was popping off. He was cooking. I mean, if you're going to judge him on the last 2 games of the season, I don't really think you should, because I feel like he's going to have better seasons. Maybe not better seasons, but I feel like he's going to have just as good seasons in the future, depending on where he ends up. But the Vikings also have a rookie quarterback in their roster, J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, he was out for the season, tore meniscus in the preseason. So, obviously, that worked out very well with the reemergence of Sam Darnold. But what does that mean? Do you trade him? Do you trade JJ? Do you let him play and let Sam walk? All right, here's my opinion on this. I wouldn't sign Sam Darnold. If I were the Vikings, I wouldn't sign Sam Darnold to a big $100+ million deal. That's what other teams are offering him, or could offer him at least. I would keep him around for another one or two years on like a $30-40 million deal. And if he likes Minnesota that much, because I don't see him going to a lot of places, Sam Darnold. I don't see him going to the Raiders. Obviously, he can't go to the Raiders. They just got Geno Smith. The Seahawks, I don't think they're going to cough up that much money and to retain him. Giants, I don't think he's going to want to go there just because that they're the New York Giants, because I don't think he wants to deal with all the New York media and all the headlines around him. And don't even get me started on the Jets. I feel like he'd rather have a better time being a New York Mets pitcher than being the Jets quarterback once again. But I would, as the Vikings, I would get Sam Darnold back for a year or two so he can mentor JJ McCarthy, so he can lead the Vikings for the next few years to come. And even if they let Sam walk, because obviously they're trying to get a long-term deal with Sam Darnold after they announced that they weren't going to franchise tag him, so they're trying to get a long-term deal with him. Like, they want to keep him around, whether for him to be the starting QB and have JJ McCarthy as the backup, which I think they're trying to do, or if they want JJ to start sometime next season. And then obviously there's Daniel Jones, who is on the practice squad for the second half of the season after being cut by the New York Giants in November after a 2-8 start. That's a whole other issue. He can obviously help JJ McCarthy as he's been in the NFL for about 6 years now. Jones, he and Sam can both mentor JJ what it's like to be a QB in the NFL. I wouldn't trade JJ. I feel like that's a stupid move just because, he hasn't even had a chance to prove himself yet. Let's see what happens next season. And then if it's really bad, then you can focus on that next offseason. I personally think that you should keep all those guys around just in case. Because, what else can you do? What else can you do? They have Justin Jefferson, obviously, one of the best wide receivers in the league. They just re-signed Aaron Jones to a 2-year deal, like around $40 million, as well, after he performed astonishingly for Minnesota after signing from Green Bay. Aaron Jones. So they have a core. They just need somebody good to throw the ball to. They need somebody to throw the ball. And whether that's Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, or if they let Sam walk and they get another veteran QB to try their plan again from last offseason, get a veteran QB and let him play out the first half of the season or whatever, first few weeks, and then let JJ play. So then that veteran QB, whether it's Russell Wilson or if it's Aaron Rodgers or if it's even someone like Justin Fields, if you want to throw him in there, so he can mentor JJ. Again, he can mentor JJ, so JJ knows how to be a quarterback in the NFL, with his injury issues, so he can deal with that as well. We'll see what happens there. I don't see Sam Darnold leaving, though. I see him staying with the Minnesota Vikings. Again, his options are limited than you think, like I just explained earlier. So, we'll see what happens, though. I think they are going to keep both QBs, or I guess 3 QBs if you want to include Daniel Jones there. I think they're going to keep 3 of them on the squad. So, we'll see what happens. There's a bunch of NFL news. Free agency, the tampering period is just a couple of days away, and then free agency officially starts in a couple of days. So we'll see all the major news that happens there. Now let's move on to NBA news. So I wanted to just talk about 3 teams: the Boston Celtics, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Cleveland Cavaliers. First off, Cleveland has been sensational this season. They've been sensational. Especially, I didn't expect them to be first in the East. Nobody expected them to be first in the East. I thought they would be, somewhere like how the Bucks are doing now. Obviously they pick up their game after a 2-8 start for Milwaukee, but I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to mention the 3 teams, and these only 3 teams that are contenders for the NBA championship, to win the NBA finals. I don't see any other team realistically outside of those 3 to be contenders. And yeah, you can argue, oh, Lakers have Luka and LeBron. Knicks have Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson leading the way. Rockets. All right, here, I'll explain those issues here. Let's start with the Knicks. Yes, I get it. They are going to make a deep playoff run. But the reason they didn't make the Eastern Conference Finals last year was because of injuries. Injuries ruined them. Obviously, Mitchell Robinson was injured in the first round against the 76ers last year, and he hasn't played until recently. I mean, he's been looking pretty good, but OG Anunoby was injured, Josh Hart was out, and then in Game 7 against the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Semis, Jalen Brunson broke his hand, and then everything went to crap for them. So and their bench is just awful. I mean, outside of Miles McBride, who is now starting at least for the next 2 weeks, while Jalen Brunson is back healthy again after he rolled his ankle in a loss against the Los Angeles Lakers, who I will get to in a minute. They have no one else on their bench, and Tom Thibodeau is pushing his starters again. I don't think he realizes that's the reason why you guys didn't go as far in the playoffs as you wanted to. Now, again, this season for the Knicks is not about the NBA talent. This is not a championship or bust season for them. This is about, obviously, the first half of the season was about chemistry, but they should be winning a lot more games than they are right now. Now, this is fine. This is what the Lakers did. They had AD and LeBron, and they tried out that core. Obviously, they won a title out of it, the 2020 bubble, but they got rid of the duo between AD and LeBron after they traded him for Luka Doncic, and they're going to see if they can win another championship with them, which I think they will soon. So obviously I love this core with the Knicks, with OG, Mitch, Brunson, Katz, Josh Hart. I love that core, but I feel like they need to get somebody, a mega superstar, to make them instant favorites to compete with the OKC, Cavs, and Celtics. Who do I think that player is? Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, obviously, you're probably going to have to trade Cat. You're probably going to trade either OG or Mikal Bridges. You're going to have to let them go, one of them go. And you're probably going to have to trade young players, because Milwaukee's going to want some young players and draft picks than a center that's only 1 year younger than him. But if they can get that deal done, I mean, obviously, I don't think that's as realistic as I'm saying it is, because you'd probably need like 5 first-round picks to get Giannis, and obviously they don't have that. They gave it all the way to Brooklyn for Mikal Bridges. But if they want to become instant contenders and finally win their first title since 1973, they're going to have to get Giannis, or at least somebody like him. So those are my hot takes for today. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll be back with another episode. Peace out.